tuned in to the Sci-Fi Horror and Fantasy Show podcast. And now, here's your host, Ron Donahue.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Sci-Fi Horror and Fantasy Show podcast. I'm your host, Ronald Donahue, and tonight I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Mario Lazo.
Hey, saying hi to you all from, I guess it's like 77 degrees here.
Mr. Jeff McIntosh.
Shut up, Mario. It's 15 degrees in the Great White North.
And we have a brand new addition to our team. Her name is Miss Gigi Garcia. How are you, Gigi?
Hi, everybody. I'm doing fabulous. Happy to be here.
So, everybody's good. Jeff, you're not frozen up there. You're hanging in there.
Yeah, so far, like I said, it's 15 now.
Ooh.
But Tuesday is going to hit 50 and it's going to rain.
Okay.
But I still have 2 foot of snow on the ground.
Wow.
Oh.
Well, we did get a cold front. Well, Florida cold front down here this past week.
Yeah, we did.
What was it, like 50 something?
Was it?
I think, in the morning. Early in the morning.
Okay.
Yeah. So we get it too, Jeff. So you're not the only one who's suffering.
Hey, that 50 degrees is shorts weather, my friend.
Absolutely. I understand. Well, let's start off this evening with our first story. Screen Rant is reporting that James Gunn at one point has actually considered Matt Reeves Batman with Robert Pattinson to be part of the new DCU. The decision, he said, was really not up to him. It was up to Matt because at this point, it appears that Matt Reeves really doesn't want to clutter up, his Batman story with a bunch of other superheroes. He wants to basically just focus on Batman. But I thought about it, and I you know what? I don't think it, even though I trust James Gunn to no end, I just don't think that Batman would really fit into this new DCU that he's creating. Reason being, for one, I know that even when this Superman movie comes out, it's going to be a bunch of other superheroes in it, but everybody's going to already be well established. The Batman story with Robert Pattinson, that was kind of like a play on the comic series Year One, where he's like, just first getting started in the crime fighting business. I don't think it's a good match to put him in this new DCU. I think they need someone else.
Well, it's my issue about the unknown, and I always say that I'm in on it, but my concern is that since it's DC, that it works out for them for a change, because we always have issues with DC and their movies, and I'm hoping this one works out for them. I'm behind him 100%, but I hope it doesn't carry. And I understand, it's a different model, as I say, because you have a different producer, writer, something new. But I'm hoping that it succeeds. That's my take on it.
Gigi,
I'm not on board with it. The Robert Pattinson Batman is just very serious. Like, there's just very serious tone to that Batman. And James Gunn's, I feel like he's very goofy in a sense that, like, he uses a lot of, like, comedic elements and stuff. So it just doesn't mesh well to me. I'm not on board.
So, okay. So let me ask you this then. That's the Batman character. Realistically, unless they do, which James Gunn would never do, because a reason why I'm saying, okay, think about back when they did the Batman movie with what's his name? They only did, I think, one of them, not the one with Val Kilmer. Who was the other guy? George Clooney. That was a disaster. right? I mean, I think they tried to make it, even if they didn't try to make it tongue in cheek, the movie was just stupid. And you remember, Superman is always more of the lighthearted type of guy. If he did come up against, well, not come up like fight, and they're not going to do another Batman versus Superman movie, I hope. But he put it like this: if it was a comedy duel, Batman would be the straight guy, right? You know, he's very straightforward. So I don't believe that putting. Okay, I don't want Robert Pattinson in James Gunn's MCU. I mean DCU, but I don't think the fact that James Gunn has that comedic part in a movie would take away from him having a serious movie. For example, we know how he did the Suicide Squad, right?
Yeah.
I think he's well enough to adapt to be able to make a movie and use characters accordingly. You see what I'm saying? I believe that. I believe. What do you say, Jeff?
Well, I'm gonna flash back, to the movie The Flash from a few years ago, where they had all the different Batmans, and it was confusing who was which one and what universe was the Flash in, and then at the end of the movie, there was a different Batman, and it was George Clooney,
right?
So, I'm just going to say, why dirty the water if you don't need to? If the director wants to focus just on, Batman and Batman villains, go for it.
Yeah.
Look at what happened with the first Joker movie with, what's his name?
Not Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah, Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah, but remember now, those are nothing to do with the DCU. Those are just offset movies.
Yeah, but then the second one comes out, and it's a musical.
Yeah.
First one was a good anchor, and then the second one becomes a musical. And go, really? So, those are my concerns.
That was just weird. Weird.
Right, but I can promise you all, James Gunn would never do anything like that. That's realistically, that's not his style. Why they did that? I mean, we discussed that before. The problem with the second Joker movie was because they gave the director just like carte blanche. He could just do anything, and that's why the movie bombed. No one was able to sit there and tell him, "Hey, dude, you know what? Maybe we need to take this in a different direction." And he did his own thing, and we see what happened.
I don't know. I would pay to see Batman doing a buck and wing.
Yeah.
Or maybe some disco. I mean,
Not
the field
disco.
is open.
You know where the only place you would probably see that, Jeff, if you ever watched Harley Quinn, the animated series, you might see something like that. You might see something goofy like that, but that's about the only place I can think about anything like that, or you'd ever see something like that. But we'll see. I mean, like you say, he has nothing else has really been said, further about it that is going to happen. And again, it just seems like Matt Reeves, I don't think he really wants it, which I'm happy with. Personally, I think they just need to go ahead, sign on a new Batman, because we know once he starts this new DC universe, once they kick it off, he's going to be in a bunch of movies. There's going to be crossovers with him and other superheroes. He's going to have his own movies. Let's get a fresh face. It's the one thing I do see, which one of you all brought up tonight, which is, it does get kind of confusing because you have this Batman over here, you got this one over here, because they were even talking about it. I guess it never got greenlit, but they were actually going to do, my understanding, another Batman with Ben Affleck. Which to me, I think, and I never got into his Batman character.
I didn't like his Batman.
No, I didn't.
There was just something
No, I
off
don't-
about that Batman.
Yeah, I didn't get him either.
Were they going to get J-Lo in on that? You know, she could have played Poison Ivy.
I'm sure he's
Yeah.
thinking that now. If nothing else,
He would
I'm
have
sure he's
loved that.
thinking that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, next on the deck, we have the Hollywood Reporters. We're going to be heavily involved with superheroes tonight. The Hollywood Reporter has reported that a live-action Clayface movie is going to be coming out in 2026. It's going to be produced by the same guy we just talked about, Matt Reeves and Lynn Harris. The script is going to be written by Mike Flanagan. Now, he has a bunch of different movies up under his belt, including the sequel to The Shining, Dr. Sleep. That was in 2019. He had Gerald's Game. I saw that. Yeah, it was okay. That was on Netflix, I think. He did Hush. And
I
he
loved
also
Hush.
Oh, yeah, it was
Oh,
good.
Amazing. 10
Okay,
out of 10.
I'll check it out then. And
Got
then
to.
he also wrote on the Life of Chuck. So the guy has a lot of cred, as far as his writing goes. He says that because when I first heard about it, I thought that this was going to be I didn't think that this would be a movie that was going to be like a serious movie. I thought this would have been like one of the James Gunn kind of tongue-in-cheek kind of films, but they're saying no, that's not it at all. It's going to be like horror thriller, tragedy story. So what do you think about it, Gigi? I mean, do you think it's a good idea? What do you think as far as a character, a Batman character doing a standalone film? Do you think that Clayface was going to be a good choice?
Well, personally, I don't know much about Clayface, but since, you said James Gunn, he tends to take characters and, unknown characters and makes it his own thing. I'm not sure if Clayface is like really known because I've never heard of him, but I'm on board, honestly. We need another like standalone villain from Batman, like for sure.
He first showed up. I mean, there's been different iterations of the character in the original Batman comics back in the 1940s. He was a villain that could put, it was I believe some kind of mask on his face, and he could make it look like other people. He could style it to look like other people. Now the character, I don't know the actual character's his name, but it's one of those tragic stories, kind of like he was a scuba diver. Well, when I saw, he was a scuba diver, and he got some chemical on him or what have you, and it turned him into Clayface. So he's basically like a shapeshifter in his natural form. Well, in his natural Clayface form, he looks like a monster, right? Really gruesome. Yeah. But he can, look like a person. He can make himself look basically form like any character or animal or anything, inanimate object. And he's not. I wouldn't say he's one of the top tier Batman villains, but yeah, he's been around a long time. Well, what are you saying, Jeff? What are you thinking about this?
Obviously, I'm not old enough to remember the 1940s. Although I feel it. I am actually looking at the Wikipedia page, for Clayface. My first, I can't think of what I want to say. My first view of the character was on the Batman in the animated series,
right?
Where he was an actor, and then he got that kind of modeling goop that he could put it on, and he could look like anybody else. And then I don't remember the chain of events, but he ended up swallowing a bunch of it, and that made him look like this big kind of Hulk-like creature that was a brown, and he could go for limited periods and change his appearance to mimic anything else. But he also has to be careful because he has to concentrate to be able to maintain that appearance.
Right.
And also because he is made of some kind of substance that is kind of like a clay or a mud, he can be dissolved.
So, do you think this is a good idea? I mean, as far as all the different characters they could have pulled out of the hat for like the Batman universe.
I like Clayface. I mean, you know, he's a little different. He's more of a monster,
right?
Perhaps. Obviously, they're going to have to probably CGI the heck out of him.
Oh yeah, of course.
My question is, how are they going to bring him into the cinema if he's just a character from Batman? For example, the new Penguin, the guy's a gangster.
Right.
So how are you going to evolve Clayface, without Batman?
See, what I'm thinking, possibly the route that they might go, like the example, like the scenario, how they described it of being a tragedy. I think it's going to see this guy, a normal guy, everyday guy. Tragedy hits him. Once it does, he just starts going downhill, and then eventually somehow ended up going into crime. That's how I kind of, picture it or what have you. Because I figure at the same time, for somebody to go through that kind of transformation, you got to probably be losing your mind at the same time. So I'm sure he's not the same person after he had the problem as he was, before he had it.
Okay. But is it just going to be one movie, or is it going to be a series?
I think it's going to be a free, like just a one shot. They didn't say it was going to be like multiple, not like, the Joaquin Phoenix stuff, not like that. Yeah. I think they're going to start doing like maybe one shots. I think they'll see how this one turns out. Because this technically is going to be in the DCU, the new one. Technically, this would be the first standalone villain movie. So I think that they're testing the water with him. Because think of it this way. If this movie is a hit, if this movie is successful, just like Gigi said, this is like, I mean, anybody who knows Batman might know him, but he is one of the, not like I say, not top tier. If this movie turns out to be successful, people will be running to the theaters if they bring out another Catwoman, a Penguin. Well, I don't think they're going to do Penguin, but
I don't think they're going to do another Catwoman either.
I think they would, because even look at Zoe Kravitz. She did an excellent job in that Batman. I mean, the Batman movie was not great, but she did a good job. I think she did a great job as Catwoman.
She really did. I agree.
I go back to what's her name there?
Eartha Kitt.
No.
Julia.
Hellberry.
Oh, you talk about that? Yeah.
Hellberry.
Yeah, but that really wasn't. Even though they had the name, that really had nothing to do with DC. That wasn't even affiliated with them, and that's why I was wondering how did they get away with that name. But yeah, that really wasn't DC. That had nothing to do with DC. That movie didn't have anything to do with anything, to be honest with you. That movie was ghastly. Terrible film. Well, we'll see. I mean, I like the fact, put it like this. I like the fact that DC Studios is they're not playing timid. They're really going out there. They're trying to make things happen. They're taking some risks. If you don't take any risks, ain't no guarantee you're ever gonna, build this company up or build their studio income in. So no, I think it's a good idea. I think it's a great idea. Well, let's move on. It's being reported that we have another time seeing Chris Evans. This is in Deadline. Deadline is reporting that Chris Evans is going to appear in the upcoming Doomsday movie. Didn't say in what role he's going to be in. I can tell you what I think is going to happen. This is my opinion. I think this is what's going to happen. I think that, okay, hold on. You got to buckle up, guys. I thought about this earlier. This is what I think is going to happen.
All right, let's hear it.
I think that in this next Avengers movie, I don't think that it's going to take place in the MCU universe that everything else is taking place in, where all the other Avengers movies have taken place, Captain America, Iron Man. I don't think it's going to be in this universe. I think that this Doctor Doom is going to end up being in another universe. Somehow they're going to be called there. I don't know. Somebody, we need your help, whatever. Maybe they don't have an Avengers in this other universe. And I think they're going to be fighting him there. I don't think he's going to be coming to, at least not in this first movie. I don't think he's going to be in the regular MCU universe. That's what I believe. And that's why I believe that in that other universe, Captain America is still around.
So what's going to be the premise for the movie or the series?
Well, the whole thing for Doctor Doom is Doctor Doom wants to take over basically he wants everything up under his thumb. He wants the world to be up under his thumb. Just kind of like Thanos. And the funny thing that I heard today, someone was talking about it, saying that they believe that we're going to see Thanos again. Because they're saying that they actually the Avengers might actually have to team up with Thanos. And remember, if Thanos is in this other universe, other dimension, universe, what have you, he might not be the maniac that they end up having to kill in the norm universe. You guys, you get me? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I don't know how to feel about that.
How many of the characters then from the Marvel world are they going to bring into this?
They never said. We don't know. Because remember, even though we saw all these different characters fighting Thanos, remember there was a whole bunch of DC. I'm sorry, I'm stuck on DC. A whole bunch of the MCU characters we didn't see out there fighting. We didn't see Moon Knight. We didn't see a ton of other different characters. You see what I mean? So that's my ideal. That's what I think is going to happen. That's how I think he's going to come back again. So we'll have temporarily, as they're fighting in this other universe, we'll have two Captain Americas. We'll have Sam Wilson, and then we'll have Chris Evans.
Okay.
Steve Rogers in this other universe till they defeat Doctor Doom, and then they'll come back to this universe. This is what I think. I mean, I could be totally wrong. Anybody in agreement with me? Anybody have any other ideas, different ideas that they think what's going to happen with Chris Evans?
Well, it sounds plausible.
Yeah.
And Captain America was a fan favorite.
I'll accept it, but the MCU is just not one superhero. So, and yeah, like you said, there's a lot of others that weren't used.
Right.
And Endgame. So, this will be an opportunity for the other characters to appear, But my question would be, how much will they expand on that? Or are they going to start just burying the old superheroes?
See, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking in this other universe that they're going to go into, I don't think there are any other superheroes there. So that's why the Avengers are there. That's what I'm thinking. I'm gonna tell you what I think is gonna kick. Does anybody know what comes first? Does the Fantastic Four movie come first, or does the Avengers Doomsday movie come out first?
Why did you have to bring up Fantastic Four? Why?
No, I'm gonna tell you exactly why. Does anybody know?
I think Fantastic Four, but I could be wrong.
Okay, so this is what I think. You remember Doctor Doom first came out in the Fantastic Four comic book series. So I think even though he's not going to be the main character of the Fantastic Four movie, I think he'll show his face there to let us know, because remember, this Fantastic Four movie is in a different universe. It's not in the same universe, even though it looks like it's the 60s and whatever. Their 60s there might be our time now, where in the normal, like I say, the MCU that we know with all our heroes. So I'm thinking that, who knows, maybe something happens. Near the end of the movie, Dr. Doom shows his face. Hey, we need help. They put out a signal to go out through the universe, and the Avengers get it, and somehow that's how they end up going to that universe and fighting. That's what I'm guessing might happen.
I don't know. Okay. I'm just tired of these alternate universe plots.
I agree with you, Gigi, wholeheartedly. I agree with you.
Like, if you could see my reaction right now, I'm like face palming, because the only good like alternate universe media is Into the Spider-Verse. And I know we're not talking about like Spider-Man in this podcast particularly, but they did such a good job with that. And then after that, the MCU was like, okay, now we're stealing this idea. And then now there's so many movies about alternate universes.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just ridiculous at this point.
Yeah, they're playing it to death. I mean, I'm like, really, I said the same thing. I'm so over it now. I mean, I really am.
They're really milking it. They're milking it at this point.
Too much. Well, it remains to be seen. That's what I'm thinking is going to happen. I mean, I could be, with 99.9%, I'm certain I'm probably dead wrong, but that's my idea. If I'm right, hey, I can scream from the mountains I was right, but that's the only thing I'm thinking might be a way that they could get him in there or what have you. Or the only other thing I think they might try. They might, if say Dr. Doom comes to the MCU where we know all the movies took place, he comes there. I don't know why he would do it, other than if he had some kind of grudge or something. But say he kills old man Steve Rogers.
Oh,
that would piss off a whole lot of people, and that would be kind of like what it would take to get us angry at him. Kind of like they had. Now I'm going back to your stuff now. Why they had Kylo Ren kill Han Solo, because they wanted a reason for people to hate him as much as they did, make him the bad guy that Darth Vader was. So I'm thinking maybe that might be a brief cameo for old man Cap Steve Rogers, and who knows? Who knows? We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. It's endless. It's endless of what it could be, but we'll see. Well, okay, we've come to the part of our show now for our question of the week.
Ooh, okay.
So this week, our question of the week is: if you were to have a Christmas-themed movie marathon consisting of 3 Christmas-themed movies from either the horror, sci-fi, or fantasy genre, what would they be? And each one of your answers for each movie has to come from a different decade. So you can't have 2 movies or 3 movies from the 80s and one from the 90s. Each one of them has to come from a different decade. So, what would you say, Jeff? What would be your Christmas movie marathon? 3 movies.
Easy. Christmas Carol, 1951.
Okay.
I've seen the earlier or the later versions with Patrick Stewart and George C. Scott, and I've seen Mr. Magoo. The only definitive version of the Christmas Carol, 1951, with Alistair Sim. Second movie, 1984. Gremlins. How can you not like little monsters terrorizing a town and tearing it up?
That was not one of my choices.
Last movie, Ron, and I know we've talked about this, and this is not your favorite, Nightmare Before Christmas. 1993.
Oh.
Jeff, 2 of those movies is what I was gonna pick. It was Gremlins and Nightmare Before Christmas. Oh my god.
Well, you see, brilliant minds think alike, Gigi. So then, okay. So then that's Jeff. We have Jeff's 3. So again, Jeff, it was this Christmas Carol, right? 1935. No.
1951.
1951. Okay. Then we have Gremlins. And then right, and then what was the third one?
Nightmare Before Christmas, 93.
Gotcha. Okay, Gigi. So we had 2. You had 2 in common with Jeff. So what was your third one that wasn't on his list?
All right. Well, it's the Star Wars Christmas special. Just kidding. It's the
You know what? You were so wrong for that. And I was going to tease you about that too. I was going to send you a text today and say, "Girl, don't put that down there now."
I was going to see the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. I just wanted to be funny.
That's good. That's actually, you know what? You're right. That was a good movie. I didn't even think about that. It was really
so
good. It was really funny. Yeah, it was really, really good. But we can, for a moment, yeah, that Star Wars. Have you guys ever seen it? You know the funniest thing, though? I actually saw that as a kid. I actually saw that, and as a kid, when you see that stuff, back then everything Star Wars was cool. So even then, it was like, oh wow, okay, yeah. But as an adult, like, oh my gosh, what in the world?
What are you smoking?
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, they used a lot of drugs back in the 70s, man. That was horrible. You seen it, Mario?
Yes, regrettably.
Yeah. I mean, you can watch it on YouTube right now. You know what I mean? That movie is so bad. It is so bad. Oh my gosh. Okay. Anywho, Mario, what's your 3?
Okay. Well, from the 60s, of course, it'll be The Grinch Who Stole Christmas. Because Christmas is fantasy, so might as well just throw The Grinch in there.
Okay.
And the next one is from the 90s. And it was an episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation, where I may be mistaken, where Picard, or was that in? No, that was in that movie with the real James T. Kirk, where Picard goes back in time and it's Christmas in England. I don't know if you recall that, and I think he was imagining that. So that's my sci-fi. Do you recall it?
Yeah, I remember the one Generations when he went back to get Kirk, but I didn't know it was Christmas time.
Well, in that specific scene, it was Christmas.
Okay.
And it looked like it was, the 19th century, but I don't know what type of clothes they wore during that era, even though it may have been in the future.
Okay.
And then, I've got no other recourse but to throw in my, Die Hard. We'll get into fun if you want. My Die Hard, and the guy who was going down the elevator with that Santa hat. Okay.
Oh, ho, ho! I now have a machine gun.
Yeah, Mario will fight you to the death on that one. That is a Christmas movie. Okay. So my 3. The first one is 1974's Black Christmas. The second one is 1984 Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Oh, yeah.
And then my favorite version of the Christmas Carol is the 1935 version starring Seymour Hicks as Ebenezer Scrooge. That's my favorite one. So yeah, that's my 3. It's kind of weird to have 2 horror movie Christmas movies, and then I guess I'd probably put maybe the Christmas Carol in the middle. That's kind of
a nice balance.
Yeah, right. A nice balance or something. Exactly.
I'm surprised nobody tossed in the original Tales from the Crypt movie from the 1970s that had Joan Collins murder her husband, and then they had a crazy Santa who got out from who escaped from the nut house and cleaved her in half with an axe.
That's right. I'd completely forgot about that. You're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah, it's a great movie.
Or the remake, because it was done on HBO's Tales with the Crypt as well. So, well, next year we'll bring that up.
I gotta admit, I cheated because I couldn't think of too many other genres other than the horror ones were easy. So I kind of went, the easy route or whatever. So if we do it next year, then I gotta deep dive a little bit more to find something other than horror movies for Christmas movies.
Yeah, I thought we were going to stop that. What happened?
Yeah, weren't you tired of horror movies?
Yeah, and I told you I cheated. I told you I cheated. I got lazy, man, because there's so many that I've actually seen, but I made it hard on myself when I sat there and after I sent that to you guys and I said, hey, every movie has to be from a different decade. And after I did, I'm like, oh my gosh, why did I do that? I made it hard on myself. So yeah, next year, we'll put that in there. No horror movie, so I can't cheat again. Well,
I'm surprised nobody brought up any Hallmark rom-coms.
Because there's no such thing. Those are all horror movies. Hallmark movies are all horror movies.
I would say any single man or woman looking to find true love over the holidays, that Boys and Girls is a fantasy.
Yeah. Anything about those movies is a fantasy. Oh my! Don't even get me started. Well, anyway, go ahead, Jeff.
I'm gonna go to Hallmark and I'm gonna get you the box set of Hallmark rom-coms for Christmas. I'm gonna get a hernia taking that to the post office and mail them.
Oh my god, that's evil.
Well, anyway, I want to thank my host tonight. Thank you, Mario. Thank you, Gigi. Thank you, Jeff. Great show. We thank all of our listeners, and we look forward to seeing you all again. Have a good night.
Good night, everybody. Stay warm.
Good night.
Good night, y'all. Take care.